Welcome back to This Is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to be talking about Commander, tough rules, and cool interactions, episode 200. Today's episode is going to take a look at some of the upcoming cards in the Avatar set. They have what looks to be a new design space ability that WotC might be tapping into. Obviously, they went through a phase of a lot of cards caring about being cast from exile, and currently, through the last few sets, we're seeing a lot of cards that care about the second spell cast in a turn, or the second card drawn in a turn, things like that. They're kind of dipping their toes into the second a turn kind of design space. Well, now it looks like we're getting a blue mechanic. It might be in other colors, but it seems like it's going to be primarily blue, that is caring about cards being put into a library from anywhere. Here's an example of one of the cards with this set. The card is, I apologize if I mispronounce this again, I'm not familiar with the Avatar show, Wan Shi Tong, All-Knowing, and it is a mono-blue legend creature, so you could build around this as your commander, and it has two triggered abilities, but we'll focus on the second one that says, whenever one or more cards are put into a library from anywhere, create two 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens with this token can't block or be blocked by non-spirit creatures. So the qualities of the token itself, not all that important. What is important is the trigger event of whenever one or more cards are put into a library from anywhere. Not just your library, but any player's library. This is really cool as a sort of blue version of Blood Artist type effects. When someone attacks you and you respond with an Aether Spouts, you can get some extra value from that Aether Spouts. Using already good cards like Brainstorm and Academy Ruins to keep generating these tokens also seems like pretty good value. Having said that, there are some things I wanted to cover and make sure that players know they do not end up triggering this ability. Let's start with cards like Chaos Warp and Guff Rewrite's History. These both do a similar effect, so let's just read the one that is found in more Commander games, the more popular card, Chaos Warp. It is an instant that says, the owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. Now, in a lot of cases, this card will indeed trigger the Wan Shi Tong's ability for a card being put into a library from anywhere when you shuffle it from the battlefield into the library. But there is a specific time that it will not trigger. If the target of the Chaos Warp is a commander and the player decides that they want it to go to the command zone in order for them to, cast it later, then this will cause the ability to not trigger. And some of you might wonder why that is. Didn't the rules change so that when commanders get removed with something like a destroy effect, that they still trigger something like a Blood Artist? Or if a commander were to get hit with a Swords to Plowshares, then they would still trigger a Ketramos, the New Dawn. Yes, these are correct. They do actually trigger those. So then why does it not work with this new blue effect? To answer this, there are two sections of the comprehensive rules that we will need to check out, and these are CR 903.9A and 903.9B. And one of them covers replacement effects, and the other covers a state-based action. I've covered these in much greater detail in the past, so if you want to dig more into these things, then be sure to watch some of those videos. But in short, replacement effects are things that look forward in time to see if there is an event they would want to replace, and then they do so, replacing it before it ever happens with a new event. And then with state-based actions, SBAs, they are a series of states, not like states of American, whatever. I'm not going to even go, I was off script. I apologize for going with that really bad joke. But they are game states that the game looks for periodically throughout the game. And when these states exist, then the game acts upon those to produce a result. And an example of a very common SBA that happens in pretty much every single game would be that when a creature has enough damage marked on it that is higher than its toughness, well, then it is sent to the graveyard. That is one of the many SBAs. So let's read these two sections that we specifically mentioned and see what they say. CR 903.9a says that if a commander is in a graveyard or in exile, and that object was put into that zone since the last time state-based actions were checked, its owner may put it into the command zone. This is a state-based action. And then CR 903.9b says that if a commander would be put into its owner's hand or library from anywhere, its owner may put it into the command zone instead. This is a replacement effect, may apply more than once to the same game. I think I butchered that last part. This replacement effect may apply more than once to the same event. Sorry if I apologize if I sound rushing like I am. It's pretty late. I lost track of time because of Battlefield 6, and it is November the 5th, which means I have to watch V for Vendetta, so I'm trying to get this made pretty quick so I can get to watching that and not leave my place of business where I make these videos. I'm trying to get this done before 4 a.m., so we'll see. I might be very tired tomorrow. An easy way for remembering the difference between these two things as to which ones work and which ones don't, at least an easy way for me, is that the one that does still have them go to the zones and therefore works with these kind of things, those zones that they go to are both public zones. All players can see face-up cards in Exile, and even then, Exile is just considered a public zone, and cards in players' graveyards. Those are also public. They're going to be face-up. You get to see them all the time. Whereas cards in a player's hand and their library, these are hidden zones. They are kind of private zones. Even if a hand is revealed or a library is for some reason completely and utterly all face-up cards or something like that, they are still considered hidden zones. So that's an easy way to remember that the hidden zone one is the one that makes it to where these triggers do not actually trigger. In the public zones, they do. The next thing that I want to mention about this new blue effect is that revealing and looking at cards in a library does not make for a zone change. When you cast Brainstorm, and it's the only card in your hand when you do actually cast it, you're clearly going to be drawing 3 cards, and then 2 of those, same that were just drawn from the library, are going to be going back to the library. But they did in fact change zones from library to hand, and then hand back to library. The problem is when you're using cards like Ponder or Mystical Tutor, searching your library for a card, looking at cards from your library, and revealing cards from your library are all still cases of you not changing those zones. You are physically handling those cards outside of the library. Sure, yeah, you're holding them outside of the library. They're going to be separately removed from it. But in the game's eyes, those cards are still in the library during that time. While you're searching and you pull the card out to search for it to then put it on top of the library or anything like that, it's still in the library. When you're revealing them from the library. When you're looking at them while they're in the library. So they're not actually changing zones in a way that this blue effect will actually care about. So make sure you're using cards like Scroll Rack and Sensei's Divining Top to get those triggers. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that all of you have enjoyed this. I looked away to see how long I went off script. Anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that all of you have found this video to be entertaining, at least, and I hope that a few of you are have even learned something. Man, I'm just butchering this. This is 5th of November, Battlefield 6, all the stuff. Really getting to me. Hope you guys have enjoyed and learned something about the crazy rules of the great game about just gather, have a good one. Todd, this is just brutal. All right, whatever. We're cutting it there. Oh my goodness gracious. Hope you guys enjoy your 5th of November. Have a good one. Ta-ta.